Anyways, Sam Wilson, Captain America 4, baby. Hi, I'm Soren. Welcome to my channel. I'm starting a new thing where I talk about things, because I haven't made like a face video yet. Have I? I don't think I have. No. Well, this series I'm gonna start talking about things I like shipping and fandom stuff. And I thought, why not start it off with the thing that I can't stop thinking about right now, which is Sam and Bucky from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let's start with Bucky. We meet James Buchanan Barnes in Captain America, the First Avenger. He's introduced as Steve's bigger and older best friend from childhood who saves him from fights and is suave with the ladies. He manages to bag two, count them, two ladies for the World's Fair for a double date with him and Steve. They're named Bonnie and Connie, by the way. I find that funny. Anyway, the World's Fair is displaying a flying car from Stark Industries. I find that cool. And then he gets shipped out to London to be a sergeant in World War II. I think it's important to distinguish MCU Bucky and comic Bucky because they're very different entities. Comic Bucky was a kid when he met Steve. He was very much the Robin to Steve's Batman. And I think that there's like a good comparison to Jason Todd as Robin for Bucky, but like that's a whole other video. I might make it. Who knows? I want to. MCU Bucky is based on the character Arnie Roth, who was Steve's older childhood best friend in the comics before Steve became Captain America. Arnie is gay and Jewish, which, considering MCU Bucky is based on Arnie Roth, I think it is like possible to read Bucky as gay and Jewish because of that inspiration right there. I do read him as gay and Jewish, or like bi and Jewish. Bucky wasn't much of a character in the MCU. Like, he did stuff, but like he was very much a plot device rather than like a person with a personality until the show The Falcon and Winter Soldier, or Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or as I'm going to call it for brevity's sake, the Sambucky show. Bucky operates as a damsel in distress for Steve in the First Avenger because Steve saves him from being a prisoner of war, and then Bucky dies at the end. And then Steve like plunges a plane into the ocean. Fun stuff. And he's like a sympathetic antagonist who you learn was brainwashed, hence the sympathy, because in Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Not to be confused with Captain America and the Winter Soldier, the show. And he's a bit of both a sympathetic antagonist and a damsel in distress in Captain America Civil War. You know, them's the breaks with Bucky, I guess. He's deprogrammed from his brainwashing between Civil War and a cameo in the Black Panther post-credits scene. Then he has less than 10 minutes of screen time in Infinity War and Endgame combined. He becomes a full person in his own right in the Sambucky show. In the first episode, we see what his daily life is like post-Endgame. Hangs out with this old guy, Yori, my beloved, and then there's a conversation in that episode where he says that he has been trying online dating and he ran into tiger photos. Yes, the tiger photo situation. Oh, it was headline worthy. If you don't know, Bucky says that he found tiger photos on online dating websites, which was a common thing to find from men on like Grindr and Tinder. So it's like Bucky would have had to have been looking for men in order to see tiger photos, because yeah. So whether it was like he was purposefully seeking out men or he did it on accident because he doesn't know technology, he's really old, that's up for debate, but Disney would want you to believe that it's the he did it accidentally, he's really old, and I think he did it on purpose, because if you're going to read Bucky as a queer character, why not believe that he was looking for men on online dating? And if Loki can say that he was looking for, that he dated some princes and princesses, and that's enough to confirm that Loki is bi, Tiger Photos is enough for me. And now on to the other side of the ship, Sam Wilson. We meet Sam Wilson during Captain America: The Winter Soldier. He's jogging in DC. It's a beautiful morning. And then, zoop! Well, wrong side. Zoop! Because it's on the left. Superhuman speed. Captain America comes running by, and is like, on your left. It's fun. It's all cute. They have a little conversation. It's a meet cute, very rom-com where they like bond over some stuff that they understand, both having been back from war. Sam served 2 tours in the Air Force, and he lost his partner, Riley. I think that Sam and Riley dated. That's just my opinion. I think it's fairly commonly agreed. I think they dated. I think they were in love, and they dated, and Sam lost his boyfriend, and that's what happened. They bond over both losing their BFFs at war. They're talking, and I'm like, are they gonna fuck? It's up for debate. I think they did. Later, Steve shows up at Sam's house, and it's like, how would Steve know where Sam lived if it was just those 2 scenes that we see them interact? Because it's like they were interacting in public. They interacted at like that place where they jogged and at the VA. So it's like, how would Steve know where Sam lived? Unless like they went to Sam's house, and Steve seemed really comfortable in Sam's house. And why was that? I think, anyway, enough about the conspiracy about the fan fiction gap for Steve and Sam. I think they dated, or at least had sex. That's just my opinion, though. While Sam was in the Air Force, he was not a pilot. He was part of the EX-07 Falcon program. Fun. He's got wings, and he steals them because he's fun and sexy, and I love Sam. He literally brought a knife to a gunfight and won. King. He kicked a helicopter out of the sky. I'm in love with him. So he like throws himself into like fighting alongside Steve and Natasha to like get himself out of his depression rut, because, you know, what better way to like heal yourself of depression than like fighting all the time. So it's like similar to how Steve threw himself into being an Avenger to like deal with the grief of losing everything. Sam threw himself into being Falcon to deal with his own emotional problems. Healthy, totally healthy, totally healthy. Heavily recommend just like throwing yourself into danger to like deal with your mental health issues. Totally support it. We don't really get much about Sam as a character, but we do get more of Sam than we do Bucky. So we see more of Sam's personality. He's fun, and he has a really great chemistry with like everyone he meets. It's great. I love Sam. He's also very funny. Like the whole "you like cats" scene in Civil War. Hilarious. One of my favorite moments ever. We learn more about Sam in the Sambucky show. We learn about his family, the family business that they have with the boat, and his sister and his nephews. And we do learn that his brother-in-law did pass away. So Sarah is a widow. And we learn about their financial struggles and how racism affects Sam as a superhero. We see as he struggles with whether or not to accept the mantle of Captain America as a black man in a deeply racist country. Because let's be honest, America is a deeply racist country. Yeah. The show itself has like some questionable politics, especially in regards to John Walker, how he like brutally murdered a man in the street and then got a slap on the wrist, which is like, that's a good commentary on how cops can basically get away with anything. And then like in the last episode, the narrative asks you to forgive John, and it's like, I'm not forgiving that man. He can choke. We're here to talk about Sam and Bucky and their relationship. So the two meet during The Winter Soldier, where Bucky is being brainwashed by Hydra to operate as an assassin. And he attacks Sam multiple times. Uh, meet execute, you know, like opposite of a meet cute. Noticeably, even though he like attacks him, he doesn't kill him. He tears his wings off and kicks him off a building. Doesn't kill him though, doesn't try to kill him. He just wants to get him out of the way so he can get Steve. So Bucky breaks free of the mind control and goes on the run, and Sam helps Steve look for him, except in Age of Ultron we learn that it might be Sam doing most of the work. So it's like, what's going on there? Because like Steve is doing Avengers missions and Sam is being Falcon looking for Bucky. And there comes in a fun Sam Bucky fanfiction trope where Sam is looking for Bucky and they meet without Steve knowing. They get to know each other and they start liking each other and they go on dates and it's cute. I like that shit. I love that shit so much. Like, Sam is so smart that there's no way he couldn't have found Bucky. And like, Bucky was living in an apartment in Bucharest with newspaper on the window, and the only thing he used for camouflage was a hat. So it's like, there's no way Sam is that smart and he did not find Bucky. He just didn't tell Steve. He just didn't tell Steve that he found him. And I think that's cute. Sam was the one keeping close watch on Bucky after they captured him during Civil War, after Zemo used the trigger words. And it's like, Steve was checking the perimeter of the building, and it's like, why was Sam watching Bucky? Wouldn't Steve be the one to do that? Much to think about. Sam was the one running with him to the Queen Jet during the battle at the airport, and it's like, why was it Sam? Why wasn't it Steve? Oh, because they like each other and they're boyfriends now. Sam and Bucky, they're boyfriends. That's what happened. They started dating between the Winter Soldier and Civil War. That's what happened. That's why Sam wasn't in Age of Ultron. He was going on dates with Bucky. Sam and Bucky fought well together during the battle. Bucky even threw himself in between Spider-Man and Sam during, like, when Spider-Man tried to kick Sam off a ledge. You didn't see it, but I kicked. You're not going to see my feet. If you're going to see my feet, you have to pay me. Then during Infinity War, they have this little moment together, and I'm like, they're so cute. And they stood together at Tony's funeral in Endgame, and it's like, Steve was right there. Steve could have been with either of them. Like, why wasn't Steve by Sam's side? Why wasn't Steve in their little, like, area? You're interrupting my video. Why wasn't Steve in their little group? Sit down! Do you want to be in the video? Is that what it is? Okay. Why wasn't Steve in their little group with, like, Wanda, Sam, and Bucky? Why wasn't Steve there? He was at the funeral. He was at the funeral. He was literally at the funeral. Why wasn't he standing with them? Sam looked at Bucky for, like, reassurance when Steve gave him the shield, and he was like, are you sure you don't want to give it to Bucky? Like, the look, it was like, are you sure about this? And Bucky was like, totally fine. You deserve it. Look at it. And, like, look at the way Bucky looked at Sam and tell me that that's not love. That's love, bitch. But something happened between Endgame and the Sam Bucky show that made Bucky ignore Sam's texts. What happened? I don't know. I don't fucking know. They never tell us what happened. And they're all like, oh, they hated each other. No, they fucking didn't. Look at how they looked at each other and tell me that they hated each other. They did not hate each other. They loved each other. I have no idea what made Bucky start ignoring Sam's texts, but I sure know that I fucking hate how hostile Bucky was being to Sam at the beginning of that show. What the fuck? That was, like, sure, they make jabs at each other, but, like, they're never, like, genuinely hostile, except for Bucky being genuinely hostile at the beginning of that show. What the fuck? That makes no sense. It does not align with their previous interactions in the MCU at all. And they're not genuinely hostile with each other. They have that whole, like, pulling each other's pigtails thing. That's fun. That's cute. I could see Bucky, like, throwing bread at Sam. Like, you're a bird. Eat it. Because Sam called him the Terminator. That's, like, the kind of hostility they have. Not, like, Ugh! How dare you not take the shield? Fuck you. Like, make it make sense. It does not make sense. The Sambucky dynamic is fond teasing. You know? Like, when Sam said, I hate you in Civil War, it was out of exasperation, not actual hatred. It was not malicious. So why was Bucky so mean in the Sambucky show? Because the writers believed that Sam and Bucky actually hated each other. They never hated each other. Their love language is being annoying, which is like the gayest thing ever. Like, to be gay is to be annoying. I can say that because I'm annoying and gay. Anyway, being annoying was their love language. We get a couples counseling scene where Bucky unloads and explains why he was so upset with Sam, and Sam says his reasoning for not accepting the shield, which was something, well, he doesn't like say it, but like he implies it, you know, which is, it's something that Steve and Bucky would never understand, and the audience understands that it's because like Steve and Bucky are white men and Sam is a black man, so it's like there's different connotations for who has the shield, you know. There's that scene where they roll in a field and the composition of the shot is reminiscent of a romantic comedy, but it feels a bit hollow to me because of how hostile Bucky was being. So it's like taking it out of context, it's great, cute, ship-worthy, but it's like in the context of it, it's like, Bucky, shut the fuck up, shut up, shut the fuck up, dude, I'll fight you. Although, to be fair to Bucky, he did look like he wanted to kiss him. They hold hands after an emotionally fraught conversation and banter homoerotically. Because, you know, what is banter if not homoerotic? They work on Sam's family boat together, and Sam tells him to stay instead of getting a hotel. You know, as one does. And Bucky sleeps on the couch. Bummer. And then in the final episode, we see them back with Sam's family in Delacroix, and they stare off into the sunset together in a scene with a song with a line about how love goes on and on and on. It feels very rom-com. It is giving me romantic. It is giving me gay. I give them props for that. It's fun and cute. You may think, what do the actors think of this? And to that I say, I don't care. Genuinely, I do not give a shit what the actors think. Like, you could tell me, oh, they both love it, or they both hate it, or one of them likes it, the other one doesn't. I don't give a shit. I don't want actors involved with my shipping stuff, because I was in Supernatural fandom shipping Destiel, and I saw the the By Dean essay, I should say. The By Dean essay. I will say, though, that the Variety interview with Anthony Mackie, it did him dirty. It wasn't homophobic. You just took things out of context for clicks and views and clout. And that same guy did the same thing to John Boyega. And he can fuck off. Leave John Boyega and Anthony Mackie alone. I love them. You may also say, but Soren, why does everything have to be gay? Why can't they just be friends? To that I say, almost nothing ever is canonically gay. And you should shut up. Just for that question, I'm making everyone gay. Tony Stark, bi. James Rhodes, gay. They're in love together. Scott Lang, gay. You know who else is gay? Luis and Agent Jimmy Woo. They're in a polycule. May Parker, bi. And she's a MILF. Everyone is bi because I say so. They're also trans because I'm trans and I like them. Peter Parker is so trans. I hope it turns you trans. And he's Jewish too, and so is Bucky. Fuck you. Anyway, I think that shipping is a fun thing, and more characters should be canonically queer. And until every character is canonically queer, in big budget popcorn movies that you go to the movie theater in like summer or whatever the fuck with your friends and everyone has a good time until every character in those movies are queer, I am going to turn them all queer with my psychic abilities. Like, I'm just gonna go, they're gay now. They're gay. They're all gay. Leave a like to turn another historically